All right, everyone. Joe Biden made his farewell address. To say that it was relatively dark and negative and kind of sour grapes would be a bit of an understatement, actually. There are clips circulating about it right now. There's a reason for that. Mostly a farewell address is, hey, we've accomplished this, and I look forward to a bright future for the United States. In Biden's case, though, he deviated off into warning America about the rise of oligarchy and how Trump was a threat to the nation, basically. I was thinking to myself, wouldn't this be a time to sell optimism? Certainly assuming that you have any level of patriotism, you're hoping that the nation does well. Instead, you're saying, well, no, I expect things to collapse. I expect it to be terrible, effectively, which might be by design. Joe Biden has deliberately set a bunch of booby traps for Donald Trump's incoming administration. One is inflation, for example. Crime and things like that come to mind as well. Multiple diplomatic crises, etc. One of them, though, is definitely the economy. Inflation ain't going to cool fully anytime soon. It's going to take Trump a gargantuan effort to get that genie back in the bottle. Do I think he can do it? Yes. Do I think it'll be easy? No. When we look at the ceasefire deal over in Israel, which may or may not actually hold, it appears to be collapsing back in on itself at the moment because Netanyahu and Hamas can't come to a mutual agreement, and they're both blaming one another. Will that be an easy crisis to solve? No. Is it possible? Yes, with Trump's unique skill sets. I think that Joe Biden is genuinely a bitter man. It's not just Trump having, taken the presidency again, outshining him in the process. I think his egotism causes him to be bitter at Trump and some of those associated individuals. He's also bitter at the Democratic Party. You look at what Jill Biden was saying about Nancy Pelosi the other day. I think that they realized that they were hoodwinked effectively by the Democratic Party, that Joe was basically shoved aside, forced down by the Pelosis of the party, and that they're bitter at them too. And so on their way out, they're making a lot of crazy statements that normally wouldn't be made within politics. I see the next 4 years as a time of optimism. My only worry is that Trump will be killed or something like that by the deep state. And I'm hoping that he beefed up his fucking private security for a reason, because all hell will break loose if something like that happens. And the leftoids, they've already shown that they're willing to try to take a shot on several different occasions. That supposedly the Iranians want him dead too. I don't necessarily believe that DOJ report, but we'll see what happens. His farewell address, I would give an F. Honestly, it's the capstone of a failed presidency. The fact that your address strikes a tone of disappointment, hey, you should have reelected me and I hate you for not doing so, and I hate the Democratic Party too in the process, sort of throwing them under the bus at times recently as well, and a general note of pessimism is not what you need in a time of crisis, and our nation is in crisis. We have a border crisis. We have a homelessness crisis. We have an economic crisis, although the Biden administration for 3 years pretended that it didn't exist. Finally, they said, well, yeah, there are problems here. We're trying to address them. They never successfully did so, you'll see. Multiple diplomatic crises, et cetera, et cetera. It was a message of pessimism that you got from the farewell address. And some people are applauding it. Lay liberals, the few people that still support Joe Biden, and saying, well, this was poignant. Link in the description, archived, of course. It wasn't poignant. What the hell are you talking about? He's sitting there rambling about how Donald Trump is going to ruin the nation and how we're going to devolve into oligarchy. Here's a pro tip. We have effectively been an oligarchy since the Civil War, and most people don't realize it. After the Civil War, you had what was called carpetbagging. Politicians would bring in their unqualified buddies and their Tammany Hallists and people like that into cabinet positions, ambassadorial roles, drag them into Congress on their coattails, and things like that. Big money was flowing. You don't have to wait till the Gilded Age to find these things happening. Oh, no, they were happening right after the Civil War during the Reconstruction period. Yeah, some people are saying, well, we're in a second Gilded Age. We've been in one. It never ended. The so-called progressive era was nothing more than the concentration of government power. The atomic era, the nuclear era, concentration of government power. Post-Cold War with the neoliberal movement, concentration of government power. We've been doing this for well over a century. We're already an oligarchy, unfortunately. We've devolved into that. Now, thankfully, there's a difference between oligarchs. The kind of oligarchs that support neoliberalism are the kind that want to censor you, and they're only self-serving. There's no attempt to serve mankind. The kind of oligarchists, admittedly so, that Trump seems to be surrounding him with are self-serving, but they also don't want to do undue harm to the population and realize, I think they've come to a realization that if you help the population, generally enrich them, it benefits you as well. It helps to help people. That seems to be the new ethos, the new populistic ethos of MAGA and / post-MAGA, which is certainly more positive than globalist neoliberalism. Globalist neoliberalism is, fuck them. I'm going to buy Raytheon stock and Boeing stock, and then I'm going to start a war. This is something that Trump and the people around him seem to be relatively averse to. It's a breath of fresh air. It's still going to be an oligarchy, but it's run by oligarchs that kind of sort of give a damn, in other words. As long as they're able to make their money, they're not going to screw anybody over, including third world children. Like Obama was bombing Yemeni orphans, before some people here were born. It's a big problem. That's the switch in society. And so the farewell address, it just struck a really sour grapes tone, extremely pessimistic and dark. Basically, you're doomed. Here's the farewell address. You're all doomed. Fuck you for not voting for me. That's about all. Peace out.